you're definitely in for a treat because they're definitely good players. So let us cut to these guys. And let's see what's going on between Shanks and Wawa.
Let's take a look. Kai versus Giovanna. Well, that's going to be the matchup for now. Shanks opening with the throw, and of course, like we've talked a lot about Shanks, but Wawa, for those of you not aware of who Wawa is, of course, one of the absolute best players in the world in Dragon Ball Fighters. But also, Wawa was a top player when he was already 10 years old. There are like legendary videos.
That makes me feel old. Immediately. I'm
Bro,
old.
I was there at the venue. Wawa would like do well in tournaments at 10 years old playing King of Fighters 13. He's from like his father is a well established King of Fighters players in France, so he grew up in the middle of like fighting game session, playing against the guys and stuff, and very quickly in his life, like he was extremely strong at fighting games, and Dragon Ball is the one that made him go
so
mainstream. And that's
one thing
like, how will he adapt to Guilty Gear Strive?
I do think, and it's kind of not surprising to me, but like since they mostly play Dragon Ball, their movement is very Dragon Ball-esque. What's going on, Illusions? How you doing?
Wawa who gets the first round on this one, and Shanks, keeping his distances, has been very aggressive with that. Giovanna uses the slash as an anti-air.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's hard to say.
Giovanna's anti-air choice is quite interesting because that slash is quite hard to apply in
like
the game.
it's almost in a way, from what I remember watching them play, they kind of move around as if they're trying to not deal with a 2H, if you will. If that makes sense. Which would be 6P in this game.
Close B, these dash up buttons. And Shanks is just trying to move away. You see here, he just keeps backdashing, and he's already in the corner.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, that's like their main game, right? That's like,
moving forward and just slowly taking up that
a grappler player trying to play like a speedster, you're going to have grappler tendencies.
Let's go for that team one. Shanks keeping the pressure on. No, Manage misses, but gets the opening regardless into the counter straight to the see. There is a burst.
Yeah.
The burst gonna be used.
Wawa's got good movement and spacing in general. And Shanks does too. I think Shanks is really good with Kai. I just think he needs a little bit more. Yeah, I think he just needs more time.
So Kai has this concept of like electrifying your
and like right now, his neutral has been pretty good so far.
It's kind of changed quite a lot in between betas right now, and I think the Kai players are trying to figure it out. Like the flip kick takes away the stun gauge, and blocked fireballs adds to it. So it's still something that Kai players are trying to implement into their game.
Yeah.
Right now.
The frame trap.
You can see this stagger pressure from Shanks is gorgeous. But
the counter hit there from Wawa. So
really good counter trying to set up his fireball.
Giovanna's so fundamentally good at playing Guilty Gear that like it almost hurts.
Yeah, understandably, he wants to keep him at that far S, far H range. But
and I feel like her spacing game is really, really good.
This is going to be a grip of damage. There's the frame trap.
And even though she has a regular step dash, she can cancel into her back dash pretty quickly, which is good.
Not dead.
And this was a little weird here. He had a super available. He could have did even like another special move. This should have did super.
Not dead.
He had a super available. Yeah, I don't think he. So this one.
I feel like the thing that Kensou sees is completely different than what regular people see, since you understand GG so well. Well, yeah. I'm trying to help y'all get there. Understand, I keep saying it, I don't care if you play this game competitively or casually. I just want you to understand what's happening in the game.
Their personalities coming through, and we're getting that in spades right now. And once again, just that move catching him out of the jump.
Now, there's one thing that Wawa's really good with, and I don't really think I've seen too many other Geo players do this, but Wawa's really good at utilizing Giovanna's 2D, her sweep, and getting the counter hits states. What makes Geo a fundamental character? She doesn't have anything super amazing outside of strike throw. Her general pressure game is she just has solid pressure.
Oh my god. And there it is.
Like she's essentially a she's a basic pressure character. I guess the easiest way to put it is she's kind of like Street Fighter 5 Cammy. She's really good at a lot of things, and she's not really bad at nothing in particular.
We're adapting. We're introducing the shimmy game here.
She's not really bad at anything.
This one, and let's see if Shanks can create some space right now.
Like her grab mobility is really good for her. And here's what I mean about that. He's really good at utilizing that 2D counter hit. That's really good. It's really good. So, you know, you can get a lot of mileage out of that. One sec, guys. I need to shut my door before my dog comes in. So yeah. Jacko crouch pose, exactly. It's crazy because GG is like one of very few 2D games where a decent amount of the cast doesn't have full screen options because the game is so aggressive. I mean, we could say that Guilty Gear is technically speaking an aggressive game, but it can be played more than just aggressively. A lot of people see like the air dash and the mobility and they're like, oh, everything is just punch, just go at full speed. When there's a lot of dynamic interactions that happen that are a lot less on the just rush down side of things. But moving forward, yeah, like this is a really good use of the counter hit 2D.
The crouching dust is counter hits. Wawa's taggers are working on a regular basis.
Yeah, if you get a round like that last one where you get that many throws, then no wonder you're going to get a couple of counter hits as a return. Yeah. And you see a lot of this is dash buttons from Wawa. Wawa doesn't...
Yes, because you don't know what she's going to do from the 5K, right? Essentially, you could just backdash it. So Shanks doesn't have to take that at all from 5K to 2D. You can just backdash.
And another time, that dust is really working.
Because the other frame trap she has is 6p. And another thing about her, about being like a basic Guilty Gear character is like, in terms of pressure, she has a snowball factor too. It's just, she just lacks a command grab. If she had a command grab, she'd be no different than like Chip, essentially. And that's part of the reason why, like, even though I want to play her as a secondary, there's certain things I see about her that I'm not sure I'd want to give up Chip for, outside of HP.
That's all we got.
Now, granted, they obviously play differently, but there's a lot of, like, they're essentially, she can pressure just as well as Chip, right? She just has more HP to do it with. And her 5H is amazing, as good as Chip's Far Slash, etc., etc. There's all kinds of, to me, there's some similarities. Obviously, again, the move kit's different, but like some of the similarities on how they work is similar. Her close slash is obviously better than Chip's, but Chip's staggers in a lot of ways are better than hers. And her overall speed, while it is good, especially with the step dash, it's not, how I put it. Chip just being overall faster opens up more doors for baiting. While her shimmy game is good, she lacks a command grab. And Chip having a command grab, to me, makes him that much more threatening. So, now don't get me wrong, she can Hulk out, and hulking out definitely changes the dynamic of the character. Because now her damage output's higher, she takes a lot less damage. And those things are great. You know? Of course, she has 100 bar for that, so there is a requirement to Hulk out. So that's probably one of the real reasons why I'd play her. Obviously, I like the character a shit ton. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna play her anyway. But like, I'm just saying, like, as someone who wants to co-main her, it's kind of a interesting dynamic. Like thinking about like what Chip has and what she has, and like what I want to do versus what I want to do with her in certain matchups. So I don't know. There's a whole lot to unpack there. And either way it goes, yes, she uses the system mechanics well. She has a dash cancel. Like, Chip don't got that. You know what I mean? That dash cancel is pretty scary. So that's part of where her strike throw can be kind of scary. And she can dash cancel into blue RC, which is scary. You know? So it's super interesting. Even though she may be seen as like a basic character, like her basic pressure is really good and her strike throw is strong. Having a dash cancel kind of opens up the strike throw and the unpredictable you know, the unpredictableness, if you will, or the unpredictability of the way she's going to approach you. So I think that's one of the few things that really makes me like her, you know, other than her being Guilty Gear's Vanessa.
A lot of pressure on Shanks throughout that set. The moment super dash of them, they're still saying we're out there, you know, life is not only about super dashing at Wawa.
Yeah, her throw game got, if I recall right, her throw game got a bit better in this version, or this the most recent build. It's probably the same overall, but
I can scramble one better.
By all means, you know, you lose the game, classic rules, you can definitely change. Decided to go for Ino, and we get some more Ino. Let's go.
And now Shanks has swapped over to Ino, and we saw Ken Deep earlier run Ino.
It's hard for Ino to break down because you're scared from reacting, but Stroke the Big Tree is such a big thing on your mind at all times. That
considering culminating Naga with Chip, it's pretty good.
Pressure, and that's gonna hurt. Gets knocked down, but
didn't get the full combo, unfortunately, Shanks. And trying to get something that is going to be a throw again from Wawa. The throw game is installed. No anti-air by Shanks, trying to backdash the corner, gets away. No opening, and there we go. It's time for the note. Shanks looking for one more opening, but the throw is gonna go from Wawa, and that's a mistimed normal
unfortunate
for Shanks that make him lose the round.
That little bit where they were just waiting in front of each other in the corner, oh, you love to see it. Those are the best moments. Dude, those for the raw dust, but
pretty sure that was Giovanna's DP.
A little bit where they were just
Gio's DP may not have iframes, but it's fast. I think that's what it was that happened here. Yeah, I can see the start of the cartwheel right here. Yeah, unless that's 2H. Nah, that's definitely her DP. Nah, that was definitely her DP. Because you could see it. Because it came out after a block. So my assumption is it's got to be a DP. Because it also launched and knocked away pretty far, just like her DP. So if it was counter hit 2H, it'll launch them up higher in front of her. So it's definitely her DP. And that's the thing. She can use that as a situational trade. And then look. You know, she had so much time to get in there. Now, had Wawa not backed up and just kept dashing, dash, and see, dash, dash. Yeah, he pretty much caught up.
In front of each other in the corner, oh, you love to see it. Those are the best moments. Dude, those for the raw dust, but Shanks is playing incredibly mobile right now. Trying to stay on top of Wawa, so Wawa's buttons are just whiffing underneath. And
I have some thoughts on Naga Ryuki, but I won't talk about them now. I'll wait till after this match to actually talk about those.
And this is going to be continuous pressure.
Yeah, nice one for Shanks right now, looking in control. Wawa getting through, throw into the counter hit. That's gonna be the throw. Wawa trying to keep the pressure on. That is more pressure, but Shanks gets this one. No RC available for him, so can't get more.
Good 6P. Yeah, Giovanna's 6P is like kind of slow. It's a little bit tricky to frame trap with. It's still a decent frame trap, but like, you know, it's one of the slower 6Ps. But when it connects like this, like you get really good damage.
And this is it. He's got him in the corner. Lovely air throw. The burst is there, though. There it is. Doesn't manage to bait it. Those notes are scary for Ino to throw. There we go. Spending RC wants the proper mix up, and it's going to be one last mix.
Nice.
To empty low.
Which was kind of an unnecessary mix, right? Like Crutch K into forward heavy slash would have done the combo to kill.
Absolutely would have done the job, but it's the mental damage amount.
Yeah, just stick around. We'll talk about that guy later.
Shanks immediately in the corner. Gonna play that stagger game, but Shanks trying to escape. Conversion again from.
Ooh, nice 5H on counter.
There into the heavy slash. Add some more. Let's get some.
Now this is the other part of Ino's like pressure game, and she's been doing this for a long time now, right? Which, you know, he got the counter hit 5H here, right, into stroke the big tree to the stagger, into stand H again, stroke the big tree again, and now we're in this on hit mix up situation. Not necessarily a bad option from Shanks. And he opts to go in for another stroke the big tree again to try to maintain some kind of pressure. It's RC. And at that point, Wawa getting hit. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's kind of late. But Wawa got hit there on the strength of, it could have been, you know, a hover dash instead of a 2K. Like, it could have been anything. It could have been a high or a low, or it could have even been a throw. So the strike throw, so the high-low throw was in play after the RC, right? Okay, so I'm gonna break this down right here, right? So here we go, struck the big tree. All right, so let's look at our options for Ino here. So I'm gonna use yellow. So it's gonna be bright over this, right? So he could hover dash, right? For the overhead. Oh, I know why it's not showing. 1 second. Cool, there we go. All right, so he could have hover dashed for the overhead here, right, from this point. So he could have hit overhead here, right? Now he could hover dash. So we'll just use the yellow line. We'll consider the yellow line as hover dash, right? So this here is hover dash, right? So from this hover dash, it could be, I use different colors here. Let's go with a lot of blue here. Let's go with white. So this hover dash here could be, oh, that's still hard to see. Whew. Maybe we'll just stick with yellow. It's fine. So we got the overhead hit. We got the low hit. Right? And he doesn't have meter available for the command grab super, so that's not in play. He no longer has access to meter for a fuzzy guard, so there's also that too. So Wawa pretty much has to guess. He can also hover dash, and I'll use a circle for throw. Right? Sorry, this is like a little over me. So this is the low, this is the high. So L, H. So you got the lows, you got the high, and we use actually we'll erase this part here, we'll just say T for throw. And we got the T for the throw. So we got the high, we got the low, we got the throw option. He has to guess one of these three. Throw is the slowest, right? So I use the blue here, and I'll just put we'll just stick back to yellow. I keep swapping and thinking I want to change the color codes. Let me see how this pink's gonna look on here really fast. That's visible. Okay, cool. All right, so if he goes for the throw is slow. So that's the slowest option. That's gonna be the slowest option he's got here, unfortunately. Okay, that's the slow option. These are gonna hit, the high and the low are gonna be pretty quick. But even though he takes the high, he might have to take the low anyway, because of the transition guard, in my honest opinion. So he's gotta guess. This is a really shit spot to be in against Ino. Especially coming in from Stroke the Big Tree. But while having these three branching options, they're still good. These are still good choices. Still good choices, because he could still, again, the highest, it's going to be the fastest because they're hover dashing. That's the first fastest option. Hover dash empty low, hover dash empty throw. These are still pretty slow, but the throw, I think it might be the bit slowest. Also doesn't help the throw range in general isn't that good, so he might have to hover dash walk up throw. So the throw is still overall going to be like the slowest option in the grand scheme of things. Right? It's still going to be the slowest option probably. But the empty low is going to be pretty fast. The high is going to be the fastest. So it sucks. So what can Wawa do in this situation? Well, it's kind of unfortunately stuck with the RC slowdown. So unless he instant blocked, probably if he instant blocked the Stroke the Big Tree probably before the RC drift, maybe there could have been room for a backdash. So maybe IB, we'll say BD for backdash? Question mark? Don't know yet. There's also IFD or instant FD or, instant faultless. And that would have been a pushback. So maybe put question mark instead. IFD for extended pushback? Question mark? This one seems like it'd probably be the least good option, just regular IB. Maybe IB to backdash may or may not be useful, barring the slowdown. So that's a big question mark. But IFD for sure would have had the pushback. No, that's like no question for the stroke the peak tree. Almost no pushback on IFD on stroke the big tree. I mean, generally speaking, any move that gets instant FD'd would throw them back as a push block. So IB would have next to no pushback. In fact, no pushback at all. So, but then again, it's drift. It's drift. It is drift. Drift does have to be taken into consideration. So maybe because of drift, maybe Eno's positioning would be a little further back, right? Maybe Eno ends up back here? Question mark? Because the pushback would have pushed her here, so maybe she'd be right back where she started. Yeah, IB holds them in place. IB has no pushback. So it could be a throw involved there, right? But the RC slowdown is what makes this a very tricky situation. Right? Now, of course, right? If you have meter, if meter is in play, let me erase that a little bit. Sorry, man. We're using this mouse, trying to write with a mouse. If meter is in play, and I'll use yellow for this. YRC, because it's yellow Roman cancel, which is the guard cancel. YRC is sorry. We'll go under here. Sorry, I write big. YRC is effective. Because now there's pushback. So you would need meter to get rid of the situation. Which in essence is okay, right? The only issue is while it is effective, there's one thing to understand. We'll put this down here, right? We'll put an arrow down here. No push back. So that's an issue. Because now she's in front of you. And since there's no pushback, they can still lead to a 50-50 guess situation.
Come on.
You see what I'm saying? So this situation is tricky.
Never forget about that. Because that's all we got.
No, you're good, Paradoxal. You straight. No sweat. It's all good, baby. I'm not gonna roast you and crucify you on being incorrect about, some information. It's all good, baby. Even I'm wrong about stuff too, man. It's all good. It's all love here, baby. It's all love here. Here, have a bitty. Options. Anyway, yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, so this is a very compromising spot. It's a very compromising spot. So we have to understand without meter, this is tricky. This is why I feel like I agree with Matt Jacket in the sense that when you have meter, like it's scary with that character. And you need to have meter to probably retaliate. And even then, when I think about it, probably like PRC drift could probably offset the pushback. Damn. Questions. Answers. PRC. Let me get this right. Ugh. Writing with the mouse. Skills. PRC. Yikes. I swear I'm getting my freaking tablet next time. PRC. Drift. To offset IFD question mark. That's something to think about. That's something to think about. So if you get IFD'd, right? So let's draw a line to this, right? So if you get IFD'd, PRC drift may offset the pushback. But the thing about it is are you actually advantageous? That's the real question. Is are you advantageous? Man, the questions. There's so many questions. There's so many questions, fam. You see, stream? This is how I come to these conclusions. Because I see things in the game and I'm like, let's see if this works. Let's see if that works. Let's see if this makes sense. Can that make sense? What happens if this happens? Like, there's always a plethora of questions. And like, I feel like when we have the answers, we can make more informed decisions. We can make better decisions when we understand, like, even though IFD and IB are harder options, the fact that now that perhaps this is a counterplay to, you know, the IFD, right? Because you're still stuck in block stun, even though it's a push block. But if they drift forward, how much advantage is lost in this situation? Whew. I feel like, you know, the Rishivan pose. It's too hot in here, man. It's too much to think about. Correct. IFD is definitely going to cause whiff punishes akin to DBFZ Reflect. I agree. I think so too. It is a lot harder to IB in this game, and the reason for it is, like, if it was too easy, it makes legacy players too strong. There has to be, you know, that's the technical skill part, is having to technically time your IFD properly or your FD properly. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, take for example, I'm still impartial to it being more. I think it cannot go over 5, and even then I still think 5 is too much. I think if it goes up any number amount, just 1 frame. 4 frame IB is more than enough for the way the Gatlings work in this game. Because you'll get too many people just committing, because, like, this is what I do. I commit to the first block, and then once my block is confirmed, guess what? In old Guilty Gear, the cancel windows in the game were not as large as this game. Like, there's only so many moves that have a big delay cancel window. Strive, almost literally every button is a huge delay cancel window. So when people were doing their strings, it's going to be absolute guard. I don't have to think anymore about, like, is he going to delay this string or not? You know, maybe 2P, 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 okay, until, like, delay throw or some shit like that, sure. But, like, there's no reason for me to, once I see a 2P, like, certain normals become substantial. Certain normals on block become substantial normals because you know a string is coming. If they come in there with 2Ps, it's almost obvious they're going to try to throw, or they may try to frame trap. At that point, I'm going to FD them out off the jabs alone, right? In older Guilty Gear. But if you come in with a 2P close slash, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, here we go. Absolute guard time. I'm not even going to stress about this. I'm just going to sit here and block. I'm going to confirm my block, right? And maybe confirm my block, FD the second one. So confirm the first block, FD the second move to enforce some pushback, right? Off the first FD, right? So block the first one, FD the second one, instant block the third one to increase the space. So my block is confirmed, my push is out, my next move now will get instant blocked, and now I have options to escape. I can backdash, I can uppercut, I can whatever, you know? And those are 2 major options, and it depends on the matchup too, right? So when you think about it, it's crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a technical skill that's going to develop in time, for sure. Yeah, 3 frames is asking a lot. That is definitely a red parry. 3 is I don't know. I don't mind it being 3 frames, personally. I think if it was 4, it'd be just fine. It shouldn't go up any more than 1. I think anything more than 5, I still think is kind of pushing it. And there's some people that think it should be 5. I think 5 is actually pushing it when I think about how the Gatlings are in the game. And how, like, since it doesn't have pushback, the throw punishes would be too free. So, like, because there's a lot of gaps in a lot of things, it just turns, it just would not go over too well, I think. I think 5 frame window might be too large. 4 frame is perfect. Anything more than 4, I think, is just asking for too much. Personal opinion, though. But either way, looking at this for what it is, these are the options. I know it's kind of messy once again, but, like, when we start looking at this is how we can start making more informed decisions. This is how, you know, This is how I've always looked at Guilty Gear, you guys. I know this is kind of what goes on in my head. You know, me telling it to you is one thing, but now that I'm using like Epic Pen and I'm pointing out all this stuff that's here, it's kind of like, holy shit. Because the thing about it is I can tell it to you and you can think about it, and then the next one comes in and you're thinking about that. But when it's on the screen, it's on display, you're like, wait, hold on now. But that into that, and then that into this, and that into that. But then this happens, but then that happens. But then the YRC is too effective, but with no pushback. But then these are the slow options of the high-low throw, right? But there's no cross-up opportunity here. But then from the no cross-up opportunity, then there's an IFD. Then from IFD, PRC to drift to offset the IFD. But if I IB and then backdash, maybe I could do this here. But if I IB backdash into blue RC drift back, maybe I'm rambling on like the Micro Machines guy to let you know that this is the shit that happens up here. This is what happens up here, you guys. This is why I look at Guilty Gear differently than most people. Because I think I see just one thing is enough for me to just be like, okay, there's no way. There's got to be options around that. What are the options? How do we do that? Have a berry. Options. All right, moving on. Moving on. I'm gonna meme that the entire stream. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But let's keep it going, and let's not delay. I know you guys have things to do.
More, let's get some Wawa, big counter there into the heavy slash one. We add some more, let's get some pressure on.
There's a double overhead.
Now, this was a good move on behalf of Wawa, using the 2P to get rid of the note. I'm not sure how much each character can get away with that. Maybe it's a spacing thing, but that definitely kind of shuts down Ino's options on her Oki.
There's a double overhead once again, no conversion.
When people get used to IB, I feel like some characters' pressure won't be as scary. Oh, of course not.
Still tacking on those little bits of damage makes a big difference. Oh, that was
I think the reason why that was possible, Ace, is because of the spacing.
The 5D and then being able to cancel and go for the throw. That's what you got to use your meter for in this game, is to make yourself safe as well as it is.
So I think we actually might save the rest of these for tomorrow. So we'll do 3 today, 3 tomorrow, so we won't overload ourselves. There's lots to take in. I'll post them all up on YouTube, no worries. No, every character can hit. Why don't? So you can hit note and it'll disappear. Mad Jack had mentioned that during the beta. I think I know for sure I didn't try it. But it is a thing.
Nice, just reversal straight out there.
So there is some counterplay, so it might be a spacing thing. We just have to wait and see on full release, like what the deets are on that. Oh, he didn't punish the note. Now this is huge, okay? Ino does a note like that in the air, this character is dead, period. She lands, she's dead. You hit your biggest button, you do the fattest combo you can think of. Wawa's fully loaded here with half bar. Shanks ain't got no bar. At this point in time, it is time to delete this character from the screen. I don't care if it was 5H in the super. Just delete this character from the screen. This character needs to get yeeted off to the next screen and yell, game! Because this was free. This was like 5H, whatever. 5H die, period. Yeah, disintegrate this character. Because she has so much landing recovery. Now, granted, I understand this here too, right? Because he does jab, and then Shanks burst on first hit. Had he baited that with a counter hit combo starter, or just a combo starter from the initial note, he would have been able to bait that and just kill this character, and that'd have been game over for that round.
Now watch out, that note's actually punishable when she does it in the air.
So is Wawa playing with this food?
But, you know, obviously that's a new character, the matchup familiarity is not necessarily out there.
Yeah, and with Giovanna having the sort of cami cannon spike straight through projectiles, it just eats them. So throwing
and Shanks is using a lot of the 6P as a way to like discourage the mid-high normals. Very common in Guilty Gear.
Otherwise your offense looks too simple.
Now that time he didn't opt to go for using a 2P to get rid of the note, so things to note.
Never forget about that.
Shanks is just out of range right now. Using that note, gonna get some blocks done at least.
Nice, he's keeping him in the corner, and the whiff, so unfortunate. It's just a slight miscalculation. Shanks preemptively pressing that S, trying to keep him away, going straight into stroke the big tree. It's a really, really nice defensive play here from Shanks, and like you've been pointing out, his movement, his way of like controlling the sky is just perfect. Wawa adapting though, going for that instant dash to
strike throw. Here we go.
Far S, because it does have a grip of recovery.
Yeah, good pressure there by Wawa, keeps it. Shanks trying to escape, but the pressure is absolutely relentless. The dust is not charged though. Wawa getting the clean anti-air.
And now, my friends, you know, when I read that people say that there's no answer to the chicken block, and then we see stuff like this, this is a great example of how to get rid of chicken blocking in this game. My man did blue RC to slow down Shanks, right? Let's take a look at the situation again. So there's the 5D, full charge, right? Then there's the 5K, right into blue RC, slow him down, boom, counter hit, and they're juggled long enough to land extra stuff. Now, Wawa missed to confirm because obviously he's not optimized, but when people start up backing people's pressure, this is one of the answers. This is exactly one of the answers. This is the reason why when I read stuff on my YouTube comments and Twitter and stuff like that, they're like, there's no counterplay, the chicken blocking is too good. Now, granted, yes, if Shanks did nothing, sure, that would have been totally okay. But there are a lot of people who already used jump back normals or air dash back normals in situations like that to try to escape. And in that case, you can slow them down and then get an option like that. That's too good. So, like, yeah, there's OS situations with blue RC for sure. So to me, it's kind of like it's almost amazing to me that, we have people out here who just say how the game has no options to stop certain things, and here we are, Now, we can sit here and cap and say, oh, well, they're Dragon Ball players. Well, I mean, they're fighting game players as far as I'm concerned. They just specialize in Dragon Ball, and you have someone like Wawa who's out here using the options. It's like, hey, man, there's a deeper side of the game than just what you think. Like, everyone's looking at the game on surface level when the game has a lot of depth to it. And I think this is a big part of, and I think it's hard to argue that the RC system is probably one of the deepest portions of the game. I think here's where a lot of the interactions will happen. So, really good situation here for Wawa.
Yeah, the conversion is dropped.
Just no combo.
No, but he does get the throw, so it's still his turn. Playing patient there, scared of Shanks' wake up, but this might be Shanks' chance to shine. Oh my god, this is going to be huge. Spends the burst.
Yeah. I respect the burst.
Making spend the burst anyway, because we're starting to look long for Wawa. Shanks trying to get that opening, but no.
Spiral arrow!
236K getting that extra damage. That is 1-1, and Wawa looking to even this one up.
And, him taking that burst is important. Now he's going into the next round with no burst, and that is a huge deal.
Oh,
if
boy.
Have lost a round. Taking someone's burst can mean everything in this game. Suddenly damage is going to get real high, and pressure is going to get real scary. Nice mash 5P out of that situation. Once again, changing the angles with these dive kicks, and just big count hit and the full conversion, spending absolutely everything. And this is why I said, you spend your burst, then this can happen. You can get run over.
Block.
Has Shanks pressed something? No, Shanks blocking, and that's not the best.
Remember when I showed you guys the options in the knockdowns?
Could definitely get enough straight to the burst.
All of that happened.
All
of that happened. Remember when we talked about the options? Okay.
Spending absolutely everything.
Now we looked at it only from the RC situation, right? But here's from the knockdown: hover dash, empty throw, right? Hover dash, empty, block. On the strength that Wawa would do something on wake up, and he does his bird kick, and then he dies for it. He should have died for it. But it's okay. They're still, it's still early on. People don't have their stuff together, so.
The best punish on this one, but
but there it is right there. It's in play.
Straight to the burst, and that's a lot of. That is a hell of a lot of meter for Shanks. Immediately goes for an empty one, keeping the pressure. All the meter is used into the instant overhead, the dash in and jump kick. Shanks pressed every button available on his stick. That is 3-1.
Yep, that was his payday. He had
first
full meter.
2-4, the best of 7 fight card number 3.
Yeah, the character swap just paying off in dividends right now, and this staggered pressure just.
I think Eno suits Shanks a lot more than Kai, personally.
I love to see that. Trying to get something, but Shanks is so evasive right now. And there we go, commits to the jump D as well, and gets a little conversion off it. And once again, Oh, doesn't.
Try to
Very
bait the burst.
surprising. Bursting when
Good
someone
delay burst
else is
from
really
Wawa.
scary, 'cause you can kind of react to if a burst is coming out.
I see. Let's see that Dust is properly blocked. Shanks trying to get something more. And he's literally just using these short hops, like the small dash to try and catch Wawa off guard. It's not working just yet. Gets the throw.
Imagine using the system mechanics.
Just
BRC. Come here.
gets the throw.
Good damage.
He's gonna keep him in the
He
corner.
could have probably punished it without the BRC, but that's good use of system mechanics.
Making Shanks spend the burst,
Really good use of
like I
system
said, is an
mechanics.
incredibly important thing to do. Even though he's lost this round,
I guess you can call that technical
skill.
skill.
And Wawa's burst is nearly back, so it is going to be important in terms of damage output and momentum. But Shanks, once again, just starting off with that hover dash, getting all the pressure, but Wawa's reversals are looking crispy. And there we go, shades of the last set between Kai, because
I respect the
getting those
5P
frame traps
press.
is nice.
Yeah, Shanks trying to get some more right now. Stroke the big tree, constantly try and get some more. The overhead is there.
Here we
Shanks
go.
with the note. Empty jump again. No, the burst is there.
He's spending the meter, he just wants to keep
Now
that
Shanks doesn't
pressure
have
on,
to
not
spend
letting
on the
it
RC there. He can just go for the
Ansio's
bounce
gorgeous. She's going to keep that pressure
and then
on.
save the meter.
Of course.
But right now his pressure game is looking really good.
His gauge is slowly rising, so he's going to have to move his way out somehow, but he doesn't have the life to spend. Big.
What about time? There we go. Could not get a conversion of this one. Oh, that was kind of sick.
That was super nice, using that PRC to keep himself safe, and this could be a swap.
Do it again. Do it again.
Strike throw.
Point saved.
Basics. Strike
I
throw.
believe he came back from that.
Got strike
Single
throwed
hits
out.
and throws. Worked out perfectly.
That's that dash in. Wawa looking to save another match point, but Shanks opening.
Hella
Well,
conditioned.
Shanks is quite like he's not interested in doing empty jumps so far. He's been doing a lot of jump K, sorry,
Yeah.
to try and do more, but the threat of an empty jump is not there quite yet.
Yeah, man.
He's
When
just
a
willing to keep on
player,
that pressure.
because you know the thing about fighting games sometimes when you see like a basic pressure character,
Jumping a little bit too high,
you know,
there's a cross up. Wawa
they're
going for that
blessed with a
one.
lot of good normals more often than not.
How spaced and nasty.
And it's kind of like you have to understand strike throw is a real thing. Strike throw is a legit mix-up. It's just it doesn't seem and see. Wawa tried to shimmy this man. Watch this, dash up, dash back. That was a street. That was definitely a Street Fighter shimmy right there. Like if he was playing Ryu, dash up, dash back, low forward or Tatsu or some crazy shit.
There we go.
Of course
Yeah.
he throws.
Yeah,
It
the
makes
throw.
complete sense.
It's really well
Throw
done.
is there, that lands.
Like,
Wawa
he's playing really
manages to
well.
save 2 match points to get that
Like,
50
beating
game
people on a
of the
fundamental
73-2
level
between Shanks
crazy.
and Wawa, and
To know how to
finally
deal with-
Wawa give us
with
a
that.
first game 7
You know,
of
Daffy
the
during the
ones of,
beta.
These game 7 thrillers.
It's you can if she does the bounce, you can
all of the fight cards
5P
have, finished with a 14
to disrespect it,
chance.
but it's not easy.
I just want to see more guilty.
It's definitely
That's
not
all I want in life. So this can go.
You want to just block it and try to disrespect the bounce.
I mean, we're here for that. You know, we're here to watch some good old Guilty Gear, and we're enjoying for now.
Look at that.
Shanks getting that burst. The anti-air is gonna be blocked. It's gonna try to keep some pressure. Wawa is in the corner now, escapes, but no conversion of the cross-up.
Nice, hitting him with that fire S, and he's now got the corner positioning. Still got meter, and he gets fights his way out. Wawa is getting better and
party
better,
time.
just changing these spaces. He's going to get a big conversion off this into Oki. Goes for the cross up, and there's the overhead once again. Shanks not ready, but he is ready in neutral, and that's the important part.
Strike
Again, Wawa
throw.
gets so much of
He's
the
just
dash
abusing the
and
cross-up
by Shanks.
situation
I don't
against
think
Shanks.
Tech the single throw?
No, it's hard to tech unless it's kind of from a setup, because it is a
Oof.
very, very small window. Typically what you're doing is anticipating and hitting the button. And one of the good things from these...
And see, right now Wawa, he plays a really smart game around 5K. So this is what I mean about creating options around like your buttons. So he uses 5K 2D a lot because the 2D is really slow. And so he's just abusing the fact that Shanks has not retaliated with the proper response to this scenario at all. It's not necessarily his fault because, you know, he's still new to the game.
Full life and full meter, sorry, and lots of life as well. But Shanks gets the conversion straight to the burst from Wawa. He wants to keep that momentum.
Yeah, and Wawa's working with a lot of meter right now, but he's got to quell this. Oh, nice slowdown, but unfortunately nothing coming out from it because he wanted the YRC. does
Good
get
throw.
the throw once again.
And like I
after
said,
the
her throw
bursts.
game,
Man, that was
her throw
awesome.
game is mad good,
Great
dude.
one, and Wawa will be the first one.
Built-in frame trap
Also,
too,
again,
5K 2D. Yeah, it's built-in frame trap.
Set. It is 3-3.
Same thing with
One
5K
more
6P.
game to take that fight card.
Staggered pressure here from Wawa, but you know,
Like, I would say Giovanna's use of lights is really good. Not that other characters don't have really good use for their lights, but I feel like hers is, it's, you know, it's solid.
Stop Lino's approaches, and that was so big. You talked earlier how he hadn't represented that empty jump option. There it is.
It is a scary one, and it's especially scary because it's safe regardless. If you're outside the block, you know there is still something coming out, and you are forced to block that one. So let's see if Wawa can save this one because it's looking good. Oh, the counter hit! Wow, the conversion. That is
no
solid amount of damage there. Wawa extending, excellent conversion. Don't need much more. The dust, can he continue the juggle? Not landed, and Shanks struggling in the corner.
Shanks trying to get out.
Trying to fight his way out. He's spending everything.
Yeah, Wawa's like, nah, we're holding on to that corner.
Corner positioning, and there it is, the cross up, catching him trying to escape. His corner
Really good pressure, man.
is absolutely brutal.
That was a huge comeback from Wawa. And to now try to get this. That is too much points for Wawa, but Shanks open with a 6P conversion. No conversion there. And Wawa's just there. There was a small staring contest right now.
I like that
Let's see
delay
Shanks
from
keeping it in the corner
Shanks.
Right now, the triple overhead gets the opening.
no.
Another one for Shanks, putting Wawa into the corner. The RC into some more. He couldn't get more damage from this one, but great moment for Shanks.
He's on his last hit, and there it is, the whiff punish. Shanks just clapping him right at the end there, and we're going into final round, final game. Love to see it.
We love to see it. That's what we want. We want more games. We're here to watch some Guilty Gear, and that's what we are blessed with. The Shanks trying to keep the pressure now. Wawa in the corner. Gonna have to try and avoid this one, and keeps it
Those
very,
step kicks.
very safe.
There it is.
Yeah, both
That option from
characters are
5K
gonna have
was
their
going to be.
burst back, and that might pay off in a second, because
So let's
they are
quickly
more
evaluate
each
that. You know,
other.
we talked about this once again.
What we want. We want
Right.
more games. We're here to watch some Guilty Gear, and that's what we are blessed with. The Shanks trying to keep the pressure now. Wawa in the corner.
So 5K step kick,
Gonna have to try and avoid this one and keep
5K jump, 5K 2D, 5K 6P, 5K spiral arrow, 5K 6P spiral arrow, 5K 6P, you know, step kick, 5K 2D step kick. Options, man. And he's building a really good foundation around that 5K. And there's a lot of conditioning that's happening in that. Yeah, most characters can jump cancel off their lights.
keeps it very, very safe.
Yeah, both characters are gonna have their burst back, and that might pay off in a second because they are mauling each other. No conversion, unfortunately. Goes for the empty throw. I cannot believe he teched that.
Yeah, that was actually a strong tech by Wawa there. And let's see if Shanks can keep some more. Now he's trying to set the note, but not right now.
The whiff on the throw, huge. Puts you in a counter hit stage, so the punish can be massive. And the close B, but no
Barely missed
conversion
it.
from it. And they're just scrambling to get out of the corner or establish a little bit of plus frames.
Good backdash on the
Amazing
throw.
backdash there from Shanks, forcing Wawa to spend the burst to keep the corner positioning.
Yeah, right, and there we go. The opening is there. It's not gonna kill just yet. Shanks using the note for one more opening. And there we go. The second overhead lands, and El Padre Shanks will be the one to take that third fight card. 4-3. Dropping Kai was definitely the right choice.
So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I enjoyed that set. So yeah. What can I say? I think once again, you know, Wawa great player, Shanks great player. I think that these characters suit both of them pretty well. Funnily enough, I can see Wawa playing a really good Kai. Both of them, I think, will probably have pretty good Kais, but I think Shanks should most likely stick with, personally. What else can I say? It's just you see a basic strike throw game plan from Wawa, which is really good. And I think it's just something that should be taken into consideration. Mad people be like, you know, characters like Giovanna can't open you up. She's gonna play super obnoxious until you decide to press a button. And when you decide to press a button, you know, you could just die. So that is another reason why I feel like strike throw should never be something that's like ignored. And it's definitely a way to play the game, and it's not going to be the most amazing mix-up. That's not the point. It's just strike throw is damaging. Strike throw is just as, guess heavy as, any other mix-up in the game. And yeah, I agree. It definitely gets overlooked. I think it's something that should never be overlooked, because when people get into this, well, how does some characters open you up? They don't have a command grab, they don't have this, they don't have that. It's like in Guilty Gear, when you block, there's risk gauge, so the risk build can happen and you might get blown back on the off chance you decided to press against that character that's hitting you with mad strike throw. Which is the reason why it's one of the reasons why I get kind of irritated with Kai players always wanting a bunch of stuff when like you already have like big fireball and then standing low and all kinds of other crazy shenanigans that the character already, is already solid and has been having for years. It's like you don't need to get grinder into like shenanigans now. Like getting sweep into big fireball is pretty sufficient, all things considered, especially when you get shock state and all other nonsense. So I don't know. But I want to harp on Kai players. It is what it is. It's up to them to readjust all that other goodness. But yeah, and on the Eno side of things, I just think Shanks understands the character pretty okay, it seems. I would say at the moment, Kendeep of that group, Kendeep seems to understand the character a bit the most. I'm sure within time, if he learns some of the cooler setups and things like that, I'm sure Shanks will probably have a really good Eno in no time. Same with Wawa. There's no question about him. That guy's just a prodigy. But as someone who plays Guilty Gear and loves to see multiple people play different games, I myself play Dragon Ball to some extent, not so much anymore, but it'd be cool to see them kind of cross over into this and see kind of work that they can do. Obviously, I'm a big propellant of just seeing people play Guilty Gear no matter what region they're from. And it's cool to just have another region in the fray, because France, they've always had like a scene, but like it was always like the same 3 guys who qualify for SBO, it seemed, more or less. So it's kind of interesting to see that there's potential for more players. And obviously I'd love to see more people from like even like the EU, London and stuff like that, play more. So it's cool. Hopefully Shanks and the people from Spain pick the game up, play more too, because more competition is like greater. Having global competition is always phenomenal. So